We have a massive Minnesota Vikings update as recent reports revealed that a Sam Darnold sign and trade could be imminent with two top teams in this year's draft. We're going to be talking about everything that has gone on from this, what's came out, and what the Vikings should do here in this scenario. Before we get into it, though, we know that 91% of you guys watching right now are not subscribed to the channel. If you're looking for a spot for all of your Minnesota Vikings news, you're in the right spot. Hit the sub button. Join me here on the channel. We're covering everything Minnesota Vikings. Without any further ado, though, let's get into this. And me and Griffin have been talking about this in a few videos. I talk about a tag and trade for Sam Darnold, and the report has revealed that that may be the plan for the Minnesota Vikings. Here is this report. Sources, both the Tennessee Titans and the Pittsburgh Steelers, have engaged with the Vikings surrounding a tag and trade for quarterback Sam Darnold, with talks expected to advance this weekend. Both teams are willing to offer Darnold a long-term contract. Now, this is a massive report coming from a Minnesota Vikings standpoint. We've discussed here the best possible scenario for Sam Darnold to be, for the Vikings would be for Sam Darnold to go elsewhere. But this is even better than what could possibly even be imagined. When we're looking at a possible tag and trade, the Vikings can get more assets coming out of this. But as we do look at a tag and trade and what both of these teams could offer, both of these teams are probably the two best scenarios for not just Sam Darnold, but also the Minnesota Vikings via trade. Now, I kind of wanted to go into our current picks first, and knowing that we can get some more assets from this, especially in a trade with teams who have quite a few draft picks, something like this could be very essential. With the Vikings only having two-fifths, a first, and a third. Now, that first as well is one that is likely to be not moved by the Minnesota Vikings unless it is moving up or down. Now, the other picks are kind of up in the air with what we're going to do. The Vikings have come out and really said that they'd like to have more. We would obviously like to have more as well as fans, just to be able to kind of fill in some of the depth here that we're missing on not just the offensive line, not just the secondary, but really any bit of depth that can be filled with a draft pick is exactly what the Vikings would want to do due to how much cap space they have. And, being able to allocate all of your money or majority of your money to positions of need and positions where you're trying to get some elite talent, that would be essential. And with Kwesi, what he has said over the past few days is, they're going to be aggressively attacking these positions of need. And having this ability to use some picks here, use some picks via trades, get some more picks via trades, things like this is all going to be a part of that plan to aggressively attack the positions of need. Now, I wanted to get into our cap space as well very quickly before we hop into these kind of ideas of trades, and one projected trade that someone had put on Twitter that I was a very big fan of, and something that is very, very possible. But looking at this first, the Minnesota Vikings, we're currently 7th in cap space with $63 million. Now, I've also made a few videos here kind of going over what possibilities the Minnesota Vikings have to be able to make this bigger as well. That includes, cutting Ed Ingram, cutting a few other players, and also being able to restructure some other contracts. It would put us around, I think $80 million. I think it was about 17 to 18 million of cap that we would gain in that scenario, which is obviously something that the Minnesota Vikings would, without a doubt, go and do if possible, and if all works out for the future and whatnot. And being able to clear up a few of these contracts, we know that the offensive line has not been great. Trying to boost that up by getting rid of Ed Ingram would be another major spot. Trey Smith, now off the market, however, is one thing. Although the odds were likely that he would not hit it, still sucks to see. But looking at the Vikings and what we can bring in, looking at one of these teams is the Tennessee Titans. They have a lot of picks, and including that first overall pick, an early second-round pick, and a good few thirds as well. The Vikings could look to try and bolster some draft picks here by, using this as a bargaining chip for the Tennessee Titans. Now, with that first-round pick, there's been many, many kind of up-in-the-air thoughts about what they're going to do. There's been quarterback negotiations. We've seen that Cam Ward is an option for them at number 1 overall. Many people are projecting that, but with this scenario, and according to this report, if the Titans are involved in negotiations with Sam Darnold and are looking to get a tag and trade from the Minnesota Vikings, they may choose to go Travis Hunter at first in their first round. Now, Travis Hunter has been a force to be reckoned with, someone who was projected to be kind of that first-round pick for, nearly the entire year. But depending on who got first, and with the Tennessee Titans, getting a guy like Travis Hunter would really just not help your team with having no quarterback still. Will Levis has not been that starter they wanted to. It still has not really, proven anything. And putting Travis Hunter in that lineup with an offense and defense capabilities from him, he would really only have any success on defense with zero quarterback throwing him to him on the offensive side of things. But given Sam Darnold, putting him in this position, being able to select Travis Hunter, and then going and using that 35th overall pick as well to get another weapon, the Titans could put themselves in immediate contention with a Sam Darnold acquisition, and that's why I feel like they're very hungry to go and use that, use that pick, or use a few of these picks to go and trade for Sam Darnold. Now, what my projection would be is the Vikings using their probably third and a fifth to move into probably a higher third, and then maybe a fourth and a fifth as well. I think there's a few options the Vikings have, but it certainly seems like they're going to be either going after some younger talent, which I don't think they would get from the Tennessee Titans as they are in a full rebuild mode, especially with that first overall pick, but trying to use a few of the picks that they have here to be able to boost up the depth, and the more draft picks this team can get, the better. And that really seems like the idea of what the Vikings are trying to plan to do with the Tennessee Titans. But as we look to this tweet here, in a response actually to the original one right here from Draft Buzz, kind of talking about the idea, I am a major fan of this little trade that this was proposed here. And it says, hopefully we can use Darnold as a way to round out the picks and acquire some more in the process. This could be interesting. The Vikings sending their first, a third, and the Steelers send their first, which is a 21st, so moving up 3 spots, a third where they move up 14 spots, 14 spots, and adding a 4th round pick and a 2026 4th rounder. Now, things like this would certainly, once again, increase the Vikings' draft compensation and draft value as well, and also being able to use some of these picks to, once again, either flip them and, go elsewhere with that, maybe in a via trade, or use those picks to, once again, as I mentioned earlier, gain that depth, gain that interest in being able to get some of these players that you see later in the draft that you maybe wouldn't have had the option to earlier on with your own picks, where you don't have as many. I do think that this Sam Darnold tag and trade is a very, very useful idea from what we've been seeing from at least these two. Now, obviously, this trade right here is a mock trade, but it does very much make sense. And from a Steelers standpoint, as well as a Vikings standpoint, I can see this working out kind of on both sides of, the team, seeing how it would benefit both of these. So shout out to you for tweeting this out, because I think it's a very good trade and kind of very good possibility. So let me know what you think in the comments below about these two trades here. Now, obviously, we're trying to still look into this and see how things are going to progress over this draft combine weekend, and kind of see how the Vikings and Kwesi, Adofo-Mensah and Kevin O'Connell kind of go about this. I'm sure we're going to be meeting with some of these executives soon rather than later, and we may see a trade. And as this original tweet here kind of said, we're going to be kind of going into this and progressing in the weekend. So hopefully we do see some more of this come out about some possible trades for Sam Darnold, gaining and boosting up the picks this Minnesota Vikings team has here over this weekend. But, it's only time to tell at this point. The draft is very much soon approaching, and we have a lot of stuff to go down. If you want to get all your Minnesota Vikings news, you're in the right spot. We got a lot of news coming, ladies and gentlemen. You will not want to miss it. But that's all we got in this video. If you did enjoy, give it a like, hit the sub button as well. But I'm signing out. Thank you for watching. Hope you have a great day. See you later.